Okay, so I came across a post on X on Kevin Starling's page, which is this page, and this was the context of the post. So after going through it, I decided to use this exact context to create an indicator on TradingView, which this is the indicator, and then it deals with liquidity swipes, high and lows, FVG, that's fair value gap, and OP, order block. So basically, we'll have to use the indicator to now make entries in the market. So you have to spot your entry zones, know your entry criteria, time frame, and everything put together, which will make it easier for you to actually spot entries and then avoid trading with your emotions. So first of all, we'll use the H1, the 1 hour time frame. Yeah, so it's already on H1. So H1, that is where you have to look for the highest and the lowest point on the chart where you want to trade. So looking at this chart overall here, at the immediate point where, let's say, I wanted trading this fair value gap here, where the cursor is. So the highest and the lowest point here directly were this. This was the swipe, the highest swipe, and this was the lowest swipe at this particular point. So what you first of all do once you get to the chart, you have to spot the highest and the lowest point on the H1 1 hour time frame. So once you get the highest and the lowest point, the next thing you have to do, you can either determine to use a 5 minutes or a 15 minutes. But put in mind that 15 minutes has stronger identification than 5 minutes, while 5 minutes has looser identification but has more opportunities to trade. So you probably just go with the one you feel comfortable with. So once you have gotten your highest and lowest point or swift point from both sides, both the high and the low side, you now probably move down to 5 or 15 minutes, whatever you choose to go with. But I will always advise 15 minutes. But for now, let's use 5 minutes since 5 minutes has more entry criteria. Since we are just making the video and I want to show you an example, so we'll now move down to 5 minutes, which is this. So moving down to 5 minutes here, we'll now have to look at the chart again. First of all, you have to spot fair value gaps immediately after you have spotted your swift high and swift low. You have to look for the fair value gaps in the chart. So at this particular point here, it's always good for you to zoom in so you see everything clearly. So as I earlier on said, this is the point where we are trading. So you just have to focus on my cursor to see where it's moving at. So now, looking at this whole point, there are a lot of swift here. This is a swift, this is another one, a lower swift, and then another one here, and then this another. So it keeps forming, according to the chart here on this time frame, it keeps forming lower swift, which means the trend was on a downtrend at this particular point, and then a change of character happened here. Because if you look at it properly, you can see this was in the immediate high swift at this point, which it broke. It broke the second one, broke the third one as well, as you can see. So once the swift keeps breaking, that means it has changed character entirely. So the character from this particular chart has changed. So now, as I earlier said, after checking for your highest point and the lowest point of the exact point you want to trade, you now have to come down to a lower time frame. Either you choose either 15 or 5 minutes. As I earlier said, remember, 15 minutes has stronger indication, and then 5 minutes has looser indication but more trade probability. So now, if you choose to use the 5 minutes, you come down to your 5 minutes. If you look closely in the chart here, let me zoom it so that you can see. You can see there's a fair value gap here where my cursor is now currently, which was this particular impulse move here that created that fair value gap at this particular point where I want to trade. So now looking at this, first of all, the steps in which we are using to take the trade is 1 hour for high and the swift highs and swift low, 15 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever you choose to use for the fair value gap, and then you now either use that same 15 minutes or use the lower time frame if you want to. But I will advise you to use the same time frame you use to spot the fair value gap to also take your entry on the other block. So the steps we're using now is the 1 hour for high and lows, the 15 minutes or 5 minutes for fair value gap identification, and then you now take your trade once the other block is hit. So now the next step, we have spotted our highs and low on the 1 hour. The next step we are going to now is to look for the fair value gap, which I spotted one here, because it will always show you. You can see there are two boxes here, but if you look closely, you will see this is written IRL FVG, that is fair value gap, just in abbreviation form, and then IRL here, and then OB, that is order block. So first of all, this is the fair value gap we've been looking for, and we spotted it. So what you have to do now, since you have spotted a fair value gap, wait for the reversal of this particular impulse, because this was the fair value gap impulse move before anything. So since there's an impulse and an impulse move here, that means you already know, okay, I have an entry somewhere around here. So, and then if you remember correctly, the main definition of an order block, or how an order block is being spotted, is for a bullish order block is the last bearish candle before the impulse move, while a bearish order block is the last bearish candle before the impulse move. So using that rule here, you now spot here, this is the last bearish candle before the impulse move here now happen. So looking at this, this is now will now be your order block, and automatically my indicator will already draw this for you to actually make it easier for you than you start stressing yourself, putting everything together. So this indicator clearly makes everything easy for you. It breaks down the analysis for you to just look at it and then wait and take your trade. Okay, so now we have spotted the fair value gap. Now you will have to wait for this market to draw down to your OB, which is your order block. So immediately, and you can see the order block is from this particular candle, which I earlier on said that the last, for a bullish order block, is the last bearish candle before the impulse move, which the impulse move is the fair value gap. So now this was the last bearish candle before the impulse move started, and then automatically you can see the indicator has already spotted this out. So now wait for a reversal to this point, and then once it gets to your order block, immediately it purchases in your order block. That is when you now take the buy, and it mirrors same way to sell. If it's a sell trade as well, you still mirror the same thing the other way around. So immediately that happens, take your trade there regardless, because a strategy is a strategy. As far as you have a strategy, you make sure you stick with it. So immediately that touch happens, manage your risks properly, enter your trade, and then always work with a ratio 1:2, or probably with 1:3, because if you are working with a lower ratio or 1:1, for instance, and you take a loss after the trade, probably you'll be gaining more losses. So if you make a ratio 1:2, you're already on advantage of taking a profitable trade on the next trade, because having a ratio 1:2, that means every win you have an advantage of taking an extra one trade at the other point. So now, looking at this, you can see immediately it came back and then patched into this particular zone. It's now pulled up and it's still going up. So even if you are going with a ratio 1:10 at this point, it's still good. It keeps going and it's still going. So it's just as easy as that. 1 hour for high and lows, 15 or 5 minutes for fair value gap, and then OB as well on that zone. So you spot your fair value gap and then wait for your order block touch, and then you take your trade from there. So now if you want to actually get this indicator, is here on my GitHub. You can just come here easily, and then I'll post the link below the video, and then come to this here. Once you click on it, it will open this point for you. You just easily come to this point, copy. So once you copy, you go back to your trading view, and then come towards the row by the right hand side, and then look for this pine where your pine script is. And then once you are here, you just easily load it here, and then press Ctrl X or save it. That's all, and then you are good to go. You're already on the chart. So there will be more coming in, but we'll be working with this for now, and it's very effective, and you can just give it a try and then let us know how it went for you. So we're good.